It is 10:03 a.m. and I had one trade with IGEX and this one did not really work out. I was thinking this was a bit of a dip and rip setup where it's not too ideal because it had a gap up. The previous close was this 48.5 sub penny level, and then it opens at 57, and then we did have that drop as low as 50 and it started trading back and forth, but then it looked like it was trying to reverse, break VWAP ideally, and then uptrend more and then try to break the day high, and then it could be like a morning spike. I did buy 15,000 shares at 9.35 and that was at 53. So that was this green candle right here at 53, thinking that it was going to turn around right then and there, and it just didn't look very nice. The level 2 just kind of gave a really bad vibe in the way it traded, how it would have a spread sometimes, and then there would just be like a huge amount of people selling at the ask. And for a very long time, there was like a 2 million share seller at 56 later after I got out of the trade, but it just didn't look ideal anymore. The price action didn't show that it was going to maybe trade back and forth here, have a bit of a downtrend, and then I'm in, and then with the momentum, it pushes it past VWAP, and again, it does that thing that I mentioned. It didn't seem like it was going to do it. It could have, but the price action just didn't look that nice, and I got out the next minute at 53, and this took a while to get executed. There were a bunch of partial fills, but I did get out ultimately at the same price that I got in at 9.36, and that was basically it. I didn't make or lose anything off of this trade. Maybe I made something if I sold at like 53.5. I might have to check that, even though it's not going to be very much. It just didn't seem like it was able to do it. And now we're back at 52, was isn't good because for a long time it was trying to hold 53 and maybe be like a baby higher low off of here and then try to make a move later and break 56. It just wasn't able to do it, but it might try to do it later, who knows, but it's not going to be something I'm looking at anymore. And HMBL, I didn't trade this one, but I was also watching it for the same thing, and that it might have this move and then it downtrends and then it has that momentum, it breaks the VWAP again and then it uptrends, and ideally it could try to go to 10 cents, but it wasn't able to do it here. There hasn't been anything else that I'm interested in. EBML did maybe offer a morning panic bounce play, but I don't like the way it trades. It doesn't have enough price action. That's really about it for right now. There isn't anything too ideal going on, but I will make an update later. It is 2:59 p.m. and I want to make an update with FXLV. This was a trade that I took a few hours ago and I wanted to make an update. Not exactly the moment I got out of the trade, but afterwards just to see how it developed. I was interested in FXLV because the previous day high, as you can see right here, was 160. And at the moment, it was trying to break this 150 level, which was resistance. It's just a very nice round number, $1.50. And eventually, I did take a buy thinking that it could get to the 150s. It breaks past it. Maybe we have a short squeeze or some kind of a big breakout. And then we can ideally immediately get to the 160s. And then that could be now like a gap fill. And this could be pretty impressive. Of course, I'm not expecting too much out of it because it is like a legitimate listed stock and it did sell off pretty harshly. And there might be bitter bag holders that are trying to sell into any uptrend that's not letting it move as high as it can. But I did get in the setup. I bought 40 shares at I would say 147 at 12.13. So 12.13 was right around here when I entered, and I thought worst case scenario, I'm trying to be in for that breakout above 150. If it breaks below this 143 level, and I also had a trend line at the time, I was going to consider cutting the trade. And then worst case scenario, if it's like a panic and I'm out at VWAP, which at the time was 136, I would have been out, I think, $5. So that would have been according to a $5 risk level. And it did break 150. I did something that I normally don't do. At 12.21, I sold 20 shares, and that was just a little bit higher at 148 because I didn't like the price action. It didn't look like it was trying to do it. At least it wasn't as nice as it was before right here at 12.21. And then when it started to look like it was getting a lot better and 149 was getting taken out and we were going to hit 150 for the first time, I did buy back those 20 shares that I sold. And that's something I don't do too often. At 12.24, I bought 20 shares at now $1.48 and a half, and that was at 12.24. And it did get to 150, but it was just too slow. I thought this thing was going to be like yesterday, how impressively drastic it was, and just massive, and just so much strength. It wasn't really that case. I'm not saying it's weak, it just wasn't as fast as I thought it would be. And even though we did get to the 150s, it was just taking too long. I didn't like it. I thought we would just break past the 150s, get to the 160s, and this could be a pretty nice move. It's still a nice move. Again, it just took way too long for what I was interested in, and I did sell everything at 1226 at 149.32. 1226 was right around here, and I got out right here when it was getting to 150, and then it looked like it was trying to break under 149. It did break under it and get to 147, as you can see right here, or maybe this is 148, but it actually did uptrend. It just wasn't a fast one, and that's pretty much it for right now. There hasn't been anything that I've been interested in, although this one was something that I could have been in at 12. There was a few times when I was considering maybe going long this, but it just doesn't have the volume. It did uptrend later. I mean, the move from 12 to 13, that's like 8%, but ideally this thing could have had more price action going on, and I would have been more interested in trading it. Nothing with HMBL. It hasn't really, done that thing where I wanted it to get to 1 penny. EGLC, not 1 penny, I mean 10 cents right here. EGOC, there's nothing, although it would be interesting if it could break maybe that 78 sub penny level. I did have an alert go off when there was a tick right here, but it wasn't like legitimate. It just doesn't have volume. This one's worse than the other one. That's pretty much it for right now. This one is up a lot, but it doesn't have price action either. I did have that trade with FXLV. It was a scratch, and as for IGEX, this was a scratch too. It was meant to be break even, but I actually did make just a tiny bit, because I did manage to sell 6,000 shares out of my 15,000 at 54. So that, made it, not a completely break even $0 trade. But yeah, it's just nothing really right now. But it wasn't too bad. I will make an update later. There's probably nothing else I'm going to trade, and I'll make that update after the market is closed. It is 9:59 p.m. and I'm here to call it off. I'm gonna be up on the day just $1.48, and that was two trades with IGEX, which did not work out. As you can see, it did downtrend much more later in the day. Maybe a dip under VWAP, but I just don't like it that much. It wasn't too ideal of a setup. And then FXLV, this one did work out, but I just thought it was going to trade way faster than the other day. And the issue that I have with these type of listed stocks is that I just worry that I'm in a setup like this, and then because it is a listed stock and they can be pretty manipulative, even more manipulative than OTCs if you ask me. Boom, big red candle, just a whole bunch of volume, and it just wipes out a bunch of people. And then you don't know if the big red candle is going to continue or if it's going to downtrend more, if the next candle is going to immediately regain itself, or if it's going to regain itself in the very same minute, or if it's just going to be the beginning of a downtrend over a longer period of time. I hate that idea that listed stocks can just have like a big red candle and just flash and just wipe out a bunch of people. So that kind of wasn't in favor with the idea that I could have perhaps continued to hold on to this for a longer period of time. And you can see that it also held a trend line. So that was pretty much the case with that. Maybe if I can continue to gain more confidence trading with the stocks over a longer period of time, I might be able to hold on to a setup like that. It's not like I had too much into my position and wasn't a very large size, but again, a big red candle is just something that would really annoy me. So yeah, that's pretty much it with that. Two scratches basically. I will continue to try to be better with listed stocks, but yeah, I clearly like trading OTCs more. That's all for today.